Sahil, so many different commentators made the point that each time there is a national tragedy like this, whether it's Virginia Tech, whether it's the shooting of a member of Congress, or whether it's this tragedy in Aurora, it prompts a great deal of talk about gun control, but seems to lead nowhere. Now, partly people say that's because it wouldn't really curb violence, the point made by Mitt Romney. He pointed to Tim McVeigh saying he would have blown up, he did blow up the Murrah building in Oklahoma City with legally bought fertilizer. But in part, people also admit, because the gun lobby is very powerful in Washington. What's going on behind the scenes right now in Washington regarding this debate?
So there's been an extraordinary outbreak of bipartisanship against any new gun control laws in the wake of this tragedy, as there usually is.
The little bipartisanship we're seeing right now is to do nothing.
Right. President Obama, Speaker Boehner, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, they all agree no new gun control laws. And it's a very toxic place to go, especially so close to an election. It's pretty much a settled issue, as Kathy and I were talking in the green room right before this. The last time a president really took this issue on was President Clinton in the 1990s. In '94, reinstated or established the assault weapons ban. It didn't work out very well for his party in the midterm elections. And since then, the gun rights lobby has only increased its power and fortitude in Washington, has outspent the gun control advocacy side by about 20-1 in the last 2 decades. This is not really an issue that the vast majority of lawmakers in this town, other than a handful of passionate gun control advocates, want to go. Could I just add very quickly on the thesis of more guns, less crime? This is a very dubious argument to make, and there's a lot of
now you're
data
sounding
that
like Alan Dershowitz. That's exactly what he argued the other night.
So there's actually a lot of data that cuts in the other direction. The only thing that's supporting the more guns, less crime theory is simply a notion, an idea that if everyone's carrying a gun, people are less likely to shoot each other. But in reality, the data shows that across the United States and across countries, the more guns there are, the more gun violence there is. And at the same time, the data shows that the more lenient the gun laws are across the states and other countries, the more gun homicides there are. So correlation obviously does not equal causation, but there's a compelling reason to at least have a debate as to whether new gun control laws will happen.
And Senator Harry Reid said not only will we not have legislation this year, we won't even have the debate. So it looks like the gun industry will not be impacted by this tragedy. Sahil, a lot of people saying there's still actually, polls have found people still nervous to go to the theater this weekend. Some movies being released that include even one movie that has a scene where people come in wearing a gas mask. They talked about editing it. From a business perspective, should people kind of change their business model in the wake of these types of tragedies, or should they move forward as planned?
I think the debate is appropriately, it should happen at a micro level. I think these are decisions that, on a local and a business level that should happen. I'd be very surprised if Congress steps in on this or even has a serious debate about this. But there's absolutely a reasonable debate to have regarding why the shooter was able to just barge into the movie theater and kill.
We're running out of time. I want to get each of you real quickly. Kathy, one other thing, weigh in on the GDP. Still consecutive growth for the Obama administration, but not good numbers.
I believe the last quarter was 1.5% growth.
This quarter was 1.5%.
The previous quarter was revised down to 2%. So not good news for the country.
Or for the Obama administration.